The moment Oda has been teasing is finally happening in chapter 1141. Is this good or bad for the Straw Hats? We'll have to find out. If you don't want to be spoiled, then do not watch further. We start the chapter with Nami and Road leaving the castle, and Nami is complaining that she didn't get any treasure from raiding the castle. She doesn't care about freeing Loki like Zoro and Luffy do, which is presumed that they just went off and tried to free him. Road tells Nami to keep quiet because the injured guards are in the boat that they're in. He does not want them to know about what happened. Then we're back to Frankie and Ripley at the Atom Tree. Ripley is explaining that the giants live on these branches of the Atom Tree, and each branch has a history of its own. Then we're shown this branch where this one village used to be, but they had to cut it off because it was struck by lightning. They wanted to make sure the fire didn't spread to other villages. Elbaf's biggest weakness is fire and lightning. So by the end of the chapter, it's kind of implied who did this to the village. As for who actually cut this branch off, that's some pretty precise sword work. You'd have to be a fairly competent swordsman to be able to pull off something like that. Then we're back to the feast where Nami is joining Usopp, but Usopp wants to know where they all went, and where's Luffy and Zoro right now. Nami just tells him that they're probably exploring, and Usopp is absolutely gone. He's like, that's right, good thinking. So then Usopp wants to introduce the mountain beard to Nami, and he's like, is she your type? Bro, Usopp is going crazy. And this dude has the audacity to say, I'm into older women. Mind you, he's like over 400 years old. So Usopp lets him know this. He strikes the sword that's in the dude's head and says, there's no way you'll find a woman like that. And he's spitting, unless Mountain Beard knows something we don't, if there's a woman that's older than him. And of course, Hirudin freaks out because this is an elder of the village. That sword is, of course, a weak spot for him. So Usopp's like, why don't you just pull it out like Excalibur? But I guess that could take him out. Brooke comments on how sloshed Usopp is, and Nami's like, look who's talking, man. She actually defends Usopp here. She's like, let him do what he wants. He's been waiting to go here for so long. It's his dream. But then, of course, Sanji notices that Gerd has run off. She's looking at the wounds that the guards suffered. Rodo clearly brought them to her. She demands that Rode tells her what happened, but he's trying to keep it to himself. He does tell her the truth that he didn't know what happened, but he's not telling her everything that he knows. She then says, fine, I'm just gonna go question the guards. And Rode's like, no, you can't do that. So she's like, fine, I'm gonna tell Mountain Beard. And he's like, no, don't do that. He's just thinking to himself, hopefully Loki gets out and I'm not associated with it, and maybe he'll just rampage in the sea and not Elbaf. But then he's like, the only thing that worries me is that red hair lookalike. As Gerd is right behind him, ready to strike, and she hit him. She demands again for Road to tell her what he knows. Then we're back to the underworld. Luffy and Zoro have encountered Loki, but he's in a completely different state than what Luffy left him in. So Luffy's like, what happened? Who did this? Zoro comments on how big Loki is, and Luffy's like, Loki, say something. They do notice that he's breathing. Zoro has to tell Luffy to not free him yet because they haven't decided if they want to. But it's not like Luffy could do it anyways because those chains are made of sea stone. Zoro is curious what could have possibly taken out all those beasts. That's when him and Luffy start beefing because Luffy's like, we gotta help this giant, he's about to die. But Zoro's like, we don't owe him a thing, and seeing as what the rumors are about him, maybe we should wait before freeing him, which is pretty level-headed. He also says, this guy is as big as Oars, which is actually insane. Oars is the biggest giant ever who hasn't eaten a devil fruit. So Zoro's like, if we let someone like him run loose, it will be pretty bad for a country like Elbaf. That's when Zoro just kicks one of Loki's wounds, and Loki just cries out. I guess Zoro wanted to make sure they were real. Seems kind of out of character for him though. That did not sit well with Loki, but Loki immediately flops back unconscious, and Luffy's like, oh, he's a goner. But Zoro says if he truly was, then that was what he was bound to be. Finally, Zoro decides that they will free him, but they'll leave a sea stone cuff on one of his ankles. That way they can talk it out more once he regains consciousness. Luffy's very excited. He wants to go find Chopper to heal him, but that's way too far away. They're gonna have to get a different doctor. As he's unlocking the chain, he's like, if they find out we freed Loki, they'll banish us, won't they? And Luffy's like, I guess that's just how it'll go. He goes to go find a doctor, and Zoro's like, we should probably go stock up on meat too. There's plenty of meat over here. But Luffy's not having it. These guys are his friends. He's like, they're off the menu, right? He's pissed. But as he goes to run and find a doctor, he sees something coming down from the sky. It's the giant warrior pirates. They're hauling ass to make sure that no one frees Loki. Clearly, Roto told Gerd about what the plan was. But they're rushing so much that they couldn't waste time getting a lift, so they're just dropping straight down to their doom. And Hyrudine's like, I guess it's all over, I made the wrong call. Kind of reminds me of Zoro and Enies Lobby, you know that one scene. But at the last second, Luffy is able to save them with a Gummo Gummo no balloon. Hyrudine is very happy as the whole ship gets launched into the air. Even though they got absolutely thrashed after the ship fell back down, they are pretty much fine. They didn't die. But Hyrudine tries to tell Luffy, do not go through with your plan to release Loki. That's why they rushed here. He tells him you can't trust Loki. No matter what he told you, he's lying. And he says he's known this since they were kids. And he has grew up with them, so he might be a reliable source. But he's trying to tell him Loki is a threat to the entire world. Do not release him. But Zoro says, I'm afraid it's already too late. As we get this magnificent spread of Loki standing all the way up, towering over Luffy. He has been freed, and he does not look like those wounds were affecting him that much. The new giant warrior pirates are in shock, and even Luffy's in shock. He's like, wait, I could have sworn he was out cold. Loki grabs this hammer, and Hyrudine's like, stop it, Loki, put Ragnir down. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but people have discerned that this hammer is essentially like akin to Thor's hammer, like it creates lightning, which could explain why that one branch was struck by lightning. Remember, Loki said the first person he is going to try to kill is Luffy. So we probably will be getting a Luffy versus Loki battle in the next chapter. But also, Sanji was following Gerd at that one point. So it could be a monster trio versus Loki fight. We haven't gotten a monster trio fight since Sabaody. I'm pretty sure, right? There hasn't been one in between that. So I am very excited for that. Loki is actually ginormous, especially if you look at him hunched over, sitting down next to Hyrudine. He's like double his size. But yeah, I'm very excited to see Loki in action and his devil fruit. I'm not sure when I'll be posting this video because I am going to the Lakers game tonight and it's One Piece night if you didn't know. If you will be there, I'm not sure if I'll have this video out before, but I'm going to be wearing this Bogard sweatshirt with the Lakers beanie, this exact outfit. So if you see me, feel free to say hi.